Okay, I just wanted to touch on the concept of digital currencies and versus paper currencies. Well, I'm going to give you some pros and cons of both. In some ways, the paper currencies it's extremely hard to scale. It can be very expensive and time consuming, and you're dealing with vaulting it and counterfeit and theft. Versus the ability with the digital currency to scale potentially all around the world very quickly. Um, the speed of transactions can be quite high, and with the digital currency, of course, you begin to do non-face-to-face transactions, and people like in Kenya are already moving towards digital currencies, and this is happening all around the world. With the paper currencies, also like the rule sets that we have to develop sometimes are very awkward to use. There's a lot of terms and conditions, and doing like yearly renewals and expiration dates is not very easy. Versus with a digital currency that's totally programmable. Like you can basically decide what you're doing. So come here, come here, come here. So with a paper currency, also like all the work we do with like community funds and everything is totally manual. Oh, sorry. Ready? Um, and so you can create automated community services with the digital system. I mean, there's a lot of capabilities to really program these things. And then data collection with a paper currency, data collection is extremely challenging. I mean, the best we can do is try to track serial numbers, but it's super hard to do. And so, being able to tell users that they have the option of making their data public, and then sharing that with, let's say, donors um, or even the community itself, and being able to do simulation on that work and really understanding how these communities are working gives us a huge ability to basically treat, a woman selling vegetables on the side of the road in some ways can teach us what we need to know about local economies to create healthy economies in general. And so that's really exciting. With paper community currencies, you often also hear about kind of tax evasion kind of issues. So if enough of it's being printed and moving around, people aren't necessarily reporting on that to government. And so with a digital currency, there can be an automated and very transparent sort of taxation system that goes along with it. Um, the paper currency is cheaper short term in a lot of ways. So, people don't need cell phones. It's available in places where there's no electricity or there's no cell phone coverage at all. And so those shorter term costs are great for paper currency, but they add up over time. So if you're having to reprint or scale in terms of printing more and more of the stuff, the cost of dealing with the paper and the cost of reprinting it can get to be very huge. Another kind of a benefit of that limited supply of the paper currency is that it sort of forces regional localization. Versus a digital currency, you tend to be talking more about cross-community trade and trade across the nation, or trade that's much more non-face-to-face. So with the paper currency, you kind of have a benefit in a way of creating more localization. But as we've been doing paper currencies for a long time, we're also very excited about experimenting with digital currencies and basically saying, okay, here are the rule sets, here's our log frames, and here's everything for our community. If you want to set up your own currency, here are some extra tools to do it. And those tools, there are similar tools you'll find online for developing digital currencies around the world. And very few of them are accessible right now in Kenya, and so that's one thing we're really excited about trying to do, is making these kind of systems digital and accessible across Africa and the rest of the developing world. So, thanks.